And we welcome you in to the South Point Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the D3Hoops.com Classic, fourth game on our third day of the tournament. And it features two teams that have traveled about as far apart from each other as you possibly can imagine in the United States. 3,200 miles from Biddeford, Maine to Newburgh, Oregon. And today it is the University of New England Nor'easters, 7-2 overall, 3-0. In the Commonwealth Coast Conference, taking on George Fox University. The Bruins are now 7-1 after an upset yesterday. The 9th-ranked Bruins knocking off 2nd-ranked Scranton here in their first game of the 10th annual D3Hoops.com Classic. I'm Ira Thor. Thanks for joining us. Pat Coleman will be joining us momentarily, and we're set for the starting lineups to be announced here. This is the fourth and final women's game today. There'll be two men's games to follow. And then tomorrow will be the conclusion of the tournament. George Fox playing their final game of the tournament today. New England will be in action tomorrow. Let's take a look at the starting lineups as our producer Dave McHugh will bring up the New England roster. Again, 7-2 on the year. The Nor'easters taking on their first neutral site opponent this year. They were 3-0 at home, 4-2 on the road. And the lineup will be number 3, Sadie Nelson. She's a 5'11 senior guard out of Windham, Maine. Abby Cavallero, the 5'7 sophomore guard, shooting 91.7% from the line this year, averaging 13 points a game, has 33 steals in just 9 games. Jocelyn Chappitt, a 5'6 senior guard out of Nashua, New Hampshire. The 4th guard is Madeline Sanborn, number 11, junior out of Lyndonville, Vermont. And the lineup is Kaylee Bior. She's a 6'3" first-year forward out of South Burlington, Vermont. The Nor'easters, well, they're coached by Anthony Ewing in his 13th season. For George Fox, coming off yesterday's victory over Scranton, and now 7-1 on the year, but that was a statement win yesterday as they were able to pull off the win over the 2nd-ranked team in the country. Lineup today will be Emily Spencer, a 5'7 senior guard out of Woodinville, Washington. She enters averaging 10 points per game. Killen Coleman, a 5'8 senior guard out of La Grande, Oregon. She wears number 4. Haley Hartney, a 6-foot senior wing out of Vancouver, Washington. Haley Strobridge, a 5'10 senior wing out of Stanwood, Washington. And the lineup is rounded out by 5'11 senior forward Emily Holder out of Tacoma, Washington. She averages 10 points and 6.3 boards per game, shooting 54.3% from the field. Your lineups for both teams. Pat, you saw George Fox yesterday pull off the upset of the Scranton squad that came in second in the D3Hoops.com national poll. You must have been impressed by what you saw, and George Fox with a chance to beat another good team today if they can get by New England.
Yeah, hard not to be impressed by that, obviously. It was a pretty good game in terms of, defensive prowess, and then they shot well, and, they got out to the lead and then held them off, right? Every time that it seemed like Scranton was in a position to cut it back, they got within 5. George Fox would answer often with a 3 and kind of held that off. UNE, they had a different challenge in the first game against MSOE, and it'll be interesting to see. I just love the fact that we've got this bi-coastal classic right here. We've got, where the sun rises at 4 a.m. and then in Biddeford, Maine or whatever, and then not 4 a.m.? In the summer, yeah. In the summer. Oh. And then sets all the way, out on the west coast near Portland, Oregon.
Well, after an early turnover, 3-point bid here. No good. Rebound by Chappitt. Yesterday, a 54-44 win for George Fox. I think that's the most impressive part of the whole win, Pat, was that they held the number 2 ranked team in the country to just 44 points in just 20 in the second half.
Yeah, and this is a team that normally George Fox is going to want to score more in the 70s, so we'll see what that looks like tonight.
3-point shot knocked down as George Fox takes the early 3-0 lead. Again, game number 4 of 6 today. We hope you're enjoying this, whether you're watching it in the Eastern time zone, where it is currently 7 p.m., or 4 o'clock right here on the West Coast.
Prime time. Even there, anyway.
Cavallero with it. Pass is going to be knocked out of bounds. There'll be 6 on the shot clock. Nor'easters, again, members of the Commonwealth Coast Conference. They are now 8-2. I misspoke. I said they hadn't played in the tournament. They actually had and knocked off Milwaukee School of Engineering. So they're 8-2, and they have won 3 in a row. Shot is off the mark, and a rebound falls to Holder.
Yeah, pretty good look underneath there for Chaput. And Chaput, of course, had the big game in the opener, but, could not get it to fall with the shot clock running out.
Strobridge takes it to the rim, draws the foul from Sanborn, so she will go to the line, where she's an 83.3% foul shooter on the year. George Fox yesterday in the victory over Scranton, a huge first quarter behind, strong three-point shooting, led 24-9, and even though Scranton actually outscored them in 2 of the next 3 quarters, that was just a lead that was insurmountable.
Yeah, and you would think that having 30 whole minutes to come back would give them the opportunity to do so. But George Fox just was really solid defensively, and like I said, made those big shots when the game got tight.
Pass inside, knocked away. Coming up with a loose ball is Spencer. Taking it, kicks it to the corner. No three-point attempt. Instead, Coleman will move the ball around as they pass up the shot. Goes to Holder. Now back to the far side, and I'll tell you what, George Fox, everyone has touched the ball in this possession, and it results in a missed layup of all things by Strobridge, who took it right down the lane and just couldn't convert.
We're talking with Anthony Ewing, the head coach of UNE, and that's one of the interviews that's on the D3 Hoops Classic website, as Chaput gets the basket and will get a chance to complete the three-point play. One of the things he really wanted to do was get an opportunity to kind of break out of the New England mold, out of the Maine mold a little bit. I mean, Maine Division III basketball has been much talked about, has been storied over the course of the last couple decades in NCAA Division III basketball. But, if you're not Bowdoin, and in the past, if you're not Southern Maine, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to break out, to get, the strength of schedule up where you need it in order to get good consideration for the tournament, and that's one of the things he's hoping to get out of this trip, and this game is going to be the one that really boosts those numbers. Three-point
attempt is well short. It'll be out of bounds as Strobridge unable to convert. Tell you what, you talk about landlocked parts of the country, and you truly have to make an effort if you're in Maine to get out, because you have to go south. You have to go south, you have to go west. That's about as...
Yes, there's not much further east you can get.
That's it right there. So credit to New England, the Nor'easters, to challenge themselves as they go to the rim and convert to tie this one up, as we played 3 minutes so far here in Vegas.
Yeah, Strobridge was 17 yesterday for George Fox in that win. She struggled here.
Another missed layup. That's 2 times in a row George Fox has had an opening down the lane and couldn't convert. They're going to go to the bench quickly here, and we'll see a couple substitutions. Kaylee Bishop, number 12, will check in, and we'll also see Cassidy Posse, the sophomore 5'11" wing out of Canby, Oregon. Posey's correct pronunciation, my apologies. Down the middle of the lane, left-handed layup is no good on the attempt by Sanborn, rebounded by Hartney.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble in traffic. Sanborn's listed at 5'9", but lots of big arms for George Fox.
This time Holder converts and draws the foul. She'll go to the line with a chance for a three-point play. Bior could not contain her and is charged for the contact.
Holder was 5 of 8 from the line yesterday. That was Saturday, right? I can call it Saturday. She finished with 9 points. Pretty good performance as well. 17 for Strobridge, 9 for Holder, 9 for Coleman, 9 for Hartney in that win against Scranton.
Three-point play is good by Holder during the whistle. Coney's, number 2, Ashley Coney's, a senior out of Dover, New Hampshire, and Katrina Krenzer, a first-year 6'1" out of Nottingham, New Hampshire, both checked in for the Nor'easters.
I think we're allowed to call them freshmen here. We're not the NESCAC. And
it'll be a foul on the floor. That's always been, I've I've always called him freshman regardless of what the designation was, but I almost feel a responsibility that if you're listed as a first year, maybe I should classify you as a first year. I don't know.
Nah. They're listed as freshmen on the program. That's what I see.
3-point shot, no good by Chappitt. George Fox with the ball. They lead by 3.
But
4 minutes gone by.
Sorry, and I'll gladly call all of George Fox's players wings. I'm good with that.
3-point shot, no good. Good rebound here by Posey. And another opportunity for the Bruins. I haven't seen a roster with players listed as wings in a long time with basketball. You know, I pretty much have called them swing players.
Right,
guard forward.
Guards, wings, and posts, right? That's probably a more, accurate way to describe how the game has evolved, though.
I agree, especially with so many players now that are versatile, can play more than one position, and they don't want to kind of get landlocked into that, hey, I'm only a power forward.
Right, I'm a 4, right? Who wants to be a 4? Not if you can play on the outside, right?
And there's a lot of 4s now that can step back and knock down 3s with consistency.
So it will be Coney's going to the line after she took the ball to the rack and fell a little hard.
Coney's has done a good job so far. It's twice now where she's taken it down the lane. We'll go to the line here with a chance to maybe make this a 1-point game. But you look at New England's schedule so far, and they played a lot of very close games. They have a couple, dominant wins over Regis and a few other schools, Wentworth being one that's more recent. But Southern Maine was a 6-point win. Becker was 4 points, just 2 points against St. Joe's, 5 points against Endicott. So they've played some close games this year where they've been challenged against teams that are probably, quite frankly, similar in their makeup. But they've also challenged themselves in New England, losing by 31 to Tufts and a sizable loss to Bowdoin as well.
Yep, and I would to send people back to that interview that we did with Coach Ewing. He talks more about how it's important to play those games and what you get out of them, even if you do lose by 26 or 30.
Another missed layup. This time there for the rebound is Posey, and she draws the foul, so she'll go to the line for 2.
So these are both teams that, for George Fox, in that really tight game yesterday, they basically played just 7 players. Baker played 5 minutes in relief as well, but that's everybody else was 15 minutes or more in that rotation. Posey didn't score yesterday, got a free throw obviously right there to get on the board today. University of New England will go a little bit deeper, and of course they had a much more favorable opportunity to do so against MSOE, but they played 9. And then Sierra Tartra came off the bench for a few minutes to be the 10th player. And there's Katrina Krenzer, one of the key bench players with a bucket.
Yeah, good feed to her. She was a little bit off balance there on the window, Pat, but was able to find enough space to knock it in. So they're remaining close are the Nor'easters. And nearly a turnover. Is it going to be a backcourt? No, they're saying a deflection. So remain George Fox basketball, then wide open with a left-handed layup converting is Posey.
Yeah, and it actually didn't even get into the backcourt. It was a nice save either way. For UNE, the thing I'm interested in is that Kaylee Bior played really well in the 11 minutes that she got the other day, and she started here again today but is already off the floor. So, she's another person who is listed as a starter but only played about 11 minutes.
Bounce pass looking for Krenzer as knocked away. George Fox in transition, up the floor, layup is good by Coleman and a foul.
George Fox, when you're getting to scoring in the 70s per game, you know that they're going to want to push the ball up the floor. And anytime you have an advantage, you're going to see teams push, and that is something that UNE is going to have to contend with or somehow prevent them from doing.
Layup, no, I should say layup. The foul shot, no good, out of bounds. George Fox, of course, 25-4 a year ago. The Nor'easters, a respectable season themselves, 15-12. They were 12-4 in the CCC, and an opportunity here to test yourselves against a school that you will virtually never see minus some place in the NCAA tournament.
Exactly, and probably deep in the NCAA tournament as well.
Extremely deep, because that's not a matchup you would normally see in the opening rounds. Layup attempt is no good by Cavallero, and a rebound by the Bruins. They lead by 6. 3-point attempt, that is well short, but right into the hands of New England. I thought they were going to have a chance for a transition, but because of the defense, got in the path there, and they're going to talk it over. The Nor'easters going to have a timeout, as called by head coach Anthony Ewing. And it's going to be a 30 seconds, so we'll keep it here, Pat.
Well, it's the key here is going to be who besides Chappett is going to put some points on the board for University of New England. Obviously, there's 3 players with 2 points so far here this afternoon, but Chappett was 9 of 14 from the floor for UNE back on day 1, whatever that was. That must be Friday.
That's why I don't remember the game. I was trying to figure out how to get here.
Everybody else is 14 for 35, so that was a bit of a struggle there. Chappett really fills the box score, 26 points in that game, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 turnovers. She handles the ball quite a bit. That is going to be the key here is Chappett gets her points. Who else gets points, right? Who else steps up and scores, because nobody else was in double figures in that first game here.
I mean, you would imagine that Sadie Nelson is going to contribute a first-team all-conference performer a year ago. She's averaging about 11.6 rebounds a game. She's been a good three-point shooter, too, at 42%.
Yeah, that's her with the basketball there. I don't know if she's hindered by that wrap that she's got on her left shoulder.
We haven't seen a three-pointer made thus far. 12-6 the lead as we're late here in quarter number 1. They keep feeding it to Krenzer. She's a big part of this offense. Three-point attempt is wedged between the rim and the backboard. You don't see that every day. It is a jump ball.
Yeah, I was going to say the tallest person on the floor right now is the official who's going to go get that basketball.
I could get it.
Well, why don't you go over there?
I think it could be very. Now I can't get it. Now it's wedged too high.
No, he's got no shot at it after there's a little help coming out.
Oh, that's cheating right there.
I think that's fine. So
you can't use them up.
Vince Christosic coming over with the little help there. Well done. But back to Cavallero. So Cavallero struggled from long range the other day. 1 of 7 from beyond the arc, and the team struggled as a whole, 5 of 18. Coach Ewing said they'd only had like 1 walkthrough and then had the game, and of course they had some time here on the floor yesterday, so we'll see if things improve.
Nice left-handed little hook shot is converted by Posey, who's been a nice spark off the bench. She's got 5 points, 2 out of 2 from the field. 8-point lead for the Bruins here. Taking it to the rim and converting is Ashley Conies. The 5'11 senior out of Dover, New Hampshire, only averages 5.7 points a game. But able to keep the Nor'easters a little closer here. Now, I don't have a vote in the D3 Hoops women's poll. I vote up with you in the men's poll for many, many years. But I do try to keep an eye on at least the top 10 to 15 programs. So to me, I actually kind of felt George Fox was a little underrated at number 9 coming in. It's hard to say because how do you really compare those teams? But I kind of felt they were a little underrated. I know that they've had some changes.
Yeah, and they lost their opener to Trinity, Texas by, I think, 73-54 score, something like that. And so that's an immediate...
Knocked you down a little bit right away.
Right, exactly. And, new coach, right? Michael Coppolino coming over from Mount St. Mary. We talked about him extensively in the previous game of theirs that we did here. So, I think there's definitely some questions raised when new coach, things change, unexpected loss out the gate. Not that Trinity is a bad program by any stretch of the imagination, but to go down there and kind of get lose by nearly 20.
It was a double-figure loss, so definitely an eye-opening loss. But it's a beautiful thing is that it's a long season, and a lot of times to kind of get people to believe in you again. And that win yesterday against Scranton. That's one way to do it.
It's going to convert some believers right there.
So 3 changes for New England and 2 for George Fox. 2 on the shot clock. Pass is going to be knocked out of bounds. It'll be a shot clock violation, and a turnover gives the ball back to the Bruins. And one thing with Scranton losing, that pretty much solidifies that number 1 spot for Tufts.
Well, it will consolidate some of those votes for sure. I mean, there's a split, right? It's not just those 2 teams at the top, but what that does mean is that you're going to have 6 of those number one votes in play. Bowdoin sits in the wings. Obviously, people could wait for the Bowdoin Tufts game, which won't come until the end of January. Hope is getting a handful of number one votes. We'd like to see them play, some more teams at the upper end of Division III. Mary Hardin Baylor was getting a number one vote, and they're 8-1. They beat Illinois Wesleyan fairly comfortably yesterday. They play Austin College tomorrow, so there's a lot of data to come in before the next vote too.
3-point attempt is off the mark by Spencer. Loose ball, and ultimately coming up with it is Hart, and he had to fight hard for that one without stepping out of bounds. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. Kicking it out again, nearly walking, somehow getting to the rim, and off the window is Spencer. A little bit of a Euro step, and able to convert, and the George Fox lead is now double digits as we have 30 seconds to go in the opening quarter.
Yeah, I don't know if it was or not, but I know Spencer made a really nice move there. That had to dribble over the defender, basically. I really like that. There are a lot of players who can really handle the ball.
Inside, that one contested and no good. Rebound comes to Coney's three-pointer, in and out by Nelson. Under 10 to go, ball into the hands of Holder. One last chance here. Spencer kicks it out to Coleman for three at the buzzer.
Nice shot. Got it to roll around and go in. So now you end with a 13-point lead in the first half. 7-0 run over the last $1.57 of that quarter. They made 4 of their last 5, and UNE hasn't scored in the last 2 minutes and 28 seconds. That's something they're going to have to take care of.
Well, they're playing their third top 10 team in the first half of the season. They're down by 13 as we head to the first quarter break. You're watching the D3Hoops.com Classic.
The love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Back here for the second quarter in Vegas. Ira Thorpe, Pat Coleman, Dave McHugh, Gordon Mann are also along for the ride here at the D3 Hoops Classic. And Pat, taking a look at the first quarter stats.
Yeah, so 21-8 our score, 8 of 18 from the floor for George Fox, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. You see University of New England struggling here in the early going, 4 of 11, 0 for 3 rebounds even, but big number right there is the turnovers. University of New England has turned the ball over 6 times in the first 10 minutes, and George Fox has not turned it over at all.
That is remarkable that they went through an entire 10-minute quarter without turning it over, and that's why they're second in the country. They knocked off the second-ranked team in the country, I should say.
Yeah, they're a top 10 team for sure, and in position to move up. Let's put it that way.
Chappitt scoring inside, so that ends what was a 13-2 run. As George Fox still in front by 11.
Hey, thanks to Dave for doing the first quarter stats. It's easy to do at half. It's tough to do at the quarter.
3-point attempt knocked down.
Wow.
3 points for Coleman, second in a row.
Heating up, got 11 points so far here this afternoon.
He's 3 out of 3 from three-point range, 4 out of 4 from the field, and the lead is now 2 touchdowns on the final NFL weekend of the season.
That'll probably be what would happen if these two schools met on the football field as well. I guess probably depends on where that game is. George Fox flying all the way across the country to play on the blue turf in Biddeford, or UNE going the other way around, or maybe they just meet in like Bettendorf, Iowa or something.
Well, drawing the foul is Chappitt. She'll go to the line. She is a 76% foul shooter on the year, knocks down the first one. The foul was on Sanborn.
It's a bunch of pressure to put on Chappitt, right? I mean, this is the one player who carried them here the other day, 26 points in that first game against MSOE. Somebody else, like we said, has to be able to step up and contribute something on the offensive end.
Pass down low. Coleman caught in some traffic. Loose ball. And you can say it was a kick ball. And it was going to be it's going to be Nor'easter basketball, actually. It was kicked by George Fox on the floor. So that is their first turnover of the game, and it took a little bit over 11 minutes to get there. I think that's ball management 101.
Yeah, that is a turnover. You're right. I had to think about that for a second, remind myself who even had possession when the scrum started.
Shot by Sanborn. It's no good. Leading by 12. Holder with it. Holder wants to drive, kicks out instead. Now they're looking for Coleman. She's already got 2 threes in the last 3 possessions, and then back-to-back turnovers, a carry violation.
Yeah, I don't, how often do you see a carry violation in your part of the country?
Oh, they're not called very much. I mean, more so than anything.
No, they should be, yes. I'm actually how often they're called.
More so than anything. There's two calls you see a lot in as a conversion there. I believe that was by Bior. 2 that we see the most frequently, travel, and quite frankly, illegal screens.
There you go, yeah. Well, that's a point of emphasis too now, right?
They have certainly made that a point of emphasis, and they'll call it a lot more than they did 2 years ago when
someone's got to come to the ball. There you go.
It was greatly ignored. Turnaround, left-handed hook shot is good by Holder.
Yeah, it's like I said, so many players for George Fox can handle the ball well, can, make moves to get themselves open. This is a really quality basketball program right here.
Holder's got 5. The lead is back to 12. And then another carry violation. That's the second one we've seen here.
I think I've reached my limit of carries. I often don't see a carry called until March in the Midwest. I also could probably go to more games, but that is just, it always strikes me that way.
Bishop and Hartney return for George Fox, again, as they lead by 12. And the one thing that I haven't seen a lot of is the 3-second violation when I first, as that three-point shot will
foul
be no
away
good.
from the ball, yep.
And that's going to be an illegal screen. That's going to be called on, what are they calling that one on?
On Holder.
They said they whistled 33, but there is no 33, so it's got to be
Holder, right?
43, yeah. They had the wrong finger up there.
I've got a finger right here.
Hey, buddy. This is a PG program.
PG-13.
Turnaround shot is knocked down by Madeline Sanborn. Sanborn's first points for UNE, and the lead is cut to 10. Both coaches, by the way, in full suits out here in Vegas. That's not something we've seen.
Well, you definitely get a wide variety, right? You get the Amherst coaches coming in the
Vegas,
in the camp shirts with the Vegas printed on it that they made themselves, had made themselves. I don't suspect they were actually out there in the silk screening room doing it personally, but and then you see the suits, and then you see a
lot of warm-ups,
right? Exactly.
Khakis with polo shirts.
Yep. It's pretty informal. We're polos and jeans all week.
Well, nobody really sees anything but the back of our heads for the most part, but
nobody needs to see the back of my head. It's very distinctively the back of my head.
No, but the Amherst coaches by far win the award for the best dressed every year. Layup attempt is no good by Hartney, and loose ball foul against George Fox. Ball goes back to the Nor'easters.
Well, if they ever don't come to the tournament, I think we got to make some of those shirts ourselves.
See, I love that idea. And then we should have it with our names on the back, so you can tell who it is from behind.
Yeah, you would just be Thor, right?
I would be Thor, which is good for, that's a great basketball nickname.
Many things, right?
We got Quincy McHugh over here.
Cue ball. D-Mac is what you want on the back of the shirt?
D-Mac Productions.
Mine will say Guru then, I guess.
Taken to the rim and converting it is Chappitt, and she'll go to the line with a chance for a three-point play. Well, they cut the lead down to 8, Guru, and Chappitt, a great foul shooter. Right now, she's been the catalyst. She's got 9 as that one goes down, so she leads all Nor'easter players. Coleman's got 11 for George Fox. 7-point game, and George Fox, they're going to talk it over.
Yeah, University of New England's made its last 3 shots, kind of crept back into this game, and certainly a good opportunity to talk it over.
Oh, they're going to take a full timeout, so will we. We'll be back after this.
The love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Division 3 allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, we're back here in Las Vegas, 26-19 after George Fox calls its first timeout. And we'll see who inbounds play here by Posey. Well, they led by as many as 14, but New England, they've played good teams this year. And maybe it's made them a little bit more resilient as we get towards the middle part of the year. Ball's thrown away and stolen by Cavallero. So a third turnover here by George Fox in the quarter. And I think they
Have to fix the
reset the shot clock.
So yesterday I was chatting with Coach Ewing before getting him on camera, and I interrupted him chatting with people in George Fox gear, and I was kind of confused as to why that happened. And I was he told me that, or reminded me that George Fox has an assistant coach now, Lauren Hayden, who played for Coach Ewing, played for UNE from 2012 to 2016, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, 4-time All-Conference in the Commonwealth Coast.
Point attempt by Nelson is short.
So again, that's an unintended consequence, or an unintended piece of irony for this matchup that we had no idea when we put this together.
There was a block on that one. I don't think it goes down officially, but yeah, Nelson missed that one because it was deflected. 7-point lead. Loose ball knocked away initially. 5 to shoot. Coleman for 3, and she connects again. Kylan Coleman has 14 points, 4 out of 4 from deep, 5 of 5 perfect from the field.
If she doesn't shoot again, she'll be the record holder for the best 3-point percentage in a game at the D3Hoops.com Classic.
Don't shoot.
Yes, that's the reason why to not shoot, or to shoot for that matter. In fact, she could even take one miss and tie for the record because it was just set in the previous game.
3 to shoot, 2, fall away jumper from the foul line, off the front of the rim by Cavallero, and a rebound here as Strawbridge up the court quickly and converted. Basket made by Baker, Aubrey Baker into the game for George Fox, the sophomore out of Bellevue, Washington. The lead is back to 12, and then a tie-up on the baseline jump ball, and as Strawbridge forces the turnover on Sanborn. And I think the Nor'easters are going to want a 30-second to talk this one over.
It's as if you could see the coach walk over there, and then we hear the whistle blow.
He just had that look in his face like, all right, this has gotten a little bit out of hand. So 31-19, under 5 to play here in the second quarter. I think you have to be impressed with the Nor'easters' ability to at least fend off the storm, and no pun intended on that one.
Right, they're not rolling over, right? They have, now they haven't scored again in the last 2:03, and that's certainly why it's a good opportunity to take a 30 here and just kind of reset. But it's a situation where George Fox keeps edging out, and then UNE gets a bucket. George Fox extends it again. UNE gets a bucket, maybe gets an offensive rebound, maybe gets an and one, that sort of thing. So they're trying to hang in it, but it's a lot easier to make that case that they're in the game when it's 7 as opposed to when it's 9 or when it's 12.
Well, they can ill afford any more of these extended scoring droughts if they have any chance to remain competitive in this game. And George Fox has done a good job controlling possession and apparently shooting threes as well, as Kaylee Bishop checks in and the freshman out of Spokane knocks down the triple. George Fox as a team is 5 for 11 from three-point range. And they are now beginning to pull away their largest lead, Pat, 15 points, and they get a turnover to get back to Rock. Coleman with it down low, easy pass, and a conversion by Strobridge. 17 points, and George Fox is beginning to pull away. They have outscored New England 15-11 here in the quarter, but they are on a 10-0 run over the last 138. You'll see a substitution here. Entering the game for New England will be Krenzer. Meanwhile, for the first time, we will see a player with not on the roster. Number 15, I don't have on our roster here for George Fox. It's Emily Stevens. I think there was a miss on the printout, but Emily Stevens, well, get to say her name, 6-foot freshman out of Medford, Oregon. So George Fox going to its reserves. They lead by 17 under 3 to play. Jab it to the rim, in and out. And rebound goes into the arms of Coleman. Coleman's got 14 points, now a couple rebounds along with 4 assists. That's a very productive 13 minutes of action, Pat.
Absolutely.
Three-point attempt off the side of the rim and a save. That ball will remain with George Fox. Coleman falling out of bounds, just swatted at it and knocked it off of the legs of the Nor'easters. So a fresh shot clock.
Sorry, I was given the task of trying to determine who should be on the all-tournament team for Milwaukee School of Engineering, and a tough couple of games for them. It was not the easiest thing to figure out while also try to do color.
Well, you balance both so well. 6 to shoot, to the rim, and missing, no! Coleman not missing them because she drew the contact, the foul charge to Krenzer. That is her first foul. So Coleman to the line on the season, 68.8% from the stripe. And that one rattles in.
You know, Coleman played 33 minutes in that game against Scranton, scored 9 points. I think a bunch of them late. She had 7 rebounds, all on the defensive end.
In and out, and a rebound comes into the hands of Sanborn, who then draws the foul.
You know, it's coming up on 4 minutes now since the last time University of New England scored. Now they are down 18. It's an 11-0 run over the last 2:47.
Free throw is good, as that's the 5th foul of the quarter. So Sanborn, just a 57% foul shooter on the season, is able to convert. So that will end the long run. However, as there is a momentary stoppage here.
Yep.
Blood
Checking
on
for
the
blood.
ankle, actually on the kneecap.
So 2 fouls for Posey. That was foul number 2 there. 2 for Spencer, 2 for Hartney, and 2 for Holder here for George Fox in the early going. Cavallero, the only one with more than 1 foul for the Nor'easters. And yeah, they will sub while we're waiting, and it will be Emmeline Bova checking into the game for the first time, the freshman for George Fox. At least as soon as she's eligible to do so. They buzzed her in and waved her in. Well, I don't know if they waved her in. She went in, and then they sent her back. Because we're shooting foul shots.
Second one is no good, and this one is pulled down by Stevens. About 2 minutes to go, 17-point lead for George Fox as the Bruins look to go to 8-1 on the year.
Look a bit more of a zone look here now on defense for UNE. 1-3-1.
And an errant pass. Coleman wants that one back. Wide open was Strobridge, but a little bit off on that release.
Yeah, and it takes some time. You know, sometimes it takes a possession to adjust, right? You come out, you see a different look on defense, and have a momentary attempt to adjust and figure out what you're trying to do. Calling for high-low.
New England needs a field goal, has not had one in more than 4 minutes. 3-point attempt is off the mark by Cavallero and a rebound by George Fox. 11-1 run over the last 3:04. That 3-point attempt is no good. And George Fox with a fresh shot clock. Shot clock did not reset, even though that did hit the rim. 1:08 to go in the half. Taking it to the rim and converting is Strobridge for 2. Strobridge now with 5 points. George Fox is shooting better than 50% in the game, and they lead by 19.
There's just no panic. There's no stress. Everything's coming really easily right now for George Fox on offense.
Cavallero drives. That is blocked going up. Another chance here for the Nor'easters. 3 points by Chappett is good.
Chappett into double figures. She's got 12.
That is the first triple for the Nor'easters. They were 0 for 5, and it was their first field goal
in 5.5 minutes.
I was just taking a look.
And it disappeared, but I had it, yeah.
Good catch by you, Pat Coleman. That's why you're the best color guy in Vegas.
Okay. Just Vegas today.
Well, I can't say the whole country. I mean, there's a lot of color guys out there. I don't know them all. That 3-pointer is no good. Coleman's first miss, and that will send us to the half as George Fox, even after that 3, commanding 16-point lead, 39-23. Taking a look at some quick numbers. Coleman leading all scorers, 15 points. That was her first miss of the game from anywhere. 5 of 6 from the field, 4 of 5 from three-point range, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Nobody else has more than 5, but for George Fox, 3 different players have 5, Strobridge, Posey, and Holder. So it's not just one player, Pat. They've really gotten support from a number on the roster.
Yep, and like I said, they'll want to play 8, and they're getting good numbers from 8. They even got Bova in for a couple minutes. They got Stevens in. They got Hartney. They got Abrahamson in there. So, they've definitely will spread that around. But Coleman with the hot hand in the first half and kept feeding her.
And George Fox shot 50%, 15 out of 30 in the first half, 5 3-pointers. New England got 12 points out of Chappett. She also had 2 rebounds, but nobody else with more than 1 field goal, Pat. And for New England, they're going to have to figure this out pretty quickly. We're going to head to our halftime break. George Fox, 9th-ranked team in Division III, all on top of the University of New England, 39-23.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
This is why we love sports. It's in the way they play, free from the pressures and all the money talk. Playing for simply the love of the game, where everyone has a shot at their definition of success on and off the field. This is what we love about sports, and what we can still love about college sports.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance, a monster dunk or no-look pass, and cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success and prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
Bad. What are you doing? Looking worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you.
You're worthless.
It's pointless.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I coined my definition of success in 1934. My definition of success is peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. It's like reputation and character. Reputation is what others perceive you to be. Character is what you are.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
You may not realize it, but these words, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental health condition, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join with me, pledge to be stigma-free.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Starting in college taught me to strive and be the best athlete I can be, but also the best student I can be. My coaches always made sure that the student comes first, because not everyone's going to become a professional athlete. So they make sure that we will do great in academics. I knew that would only open the door to my future, and I'm really excited to start my dream program for physical therapy.
Back out here at the half at the 10th annual D3Hoops.com Classic. Is this the fourth game of the day? Yes, finally. And yes, many games overall. 10 games overall, you said that? I think so. Number 9, George Fox leads University of New England by the score of 39-23. Taking a look at the halftime stats. Starting it off, Kylan Coleman with the big numbers so far. Of course, 5 of 6 from the floor, 4 for 5 from downtown, 1 of 3 from the line for 15 points. For the Bruins, of course, they lead 39-23, 15 of 30 from the floor. You see the numbers right there, 5 of 14 from downtown, looking pretty good. Out rebounding UNE 19-13, 9 assists to 5 turnovers, and you can flip it around, 5 assists to 9 turnovers on the UNE side of the ledger. Not shooting as well from the floor, 41%, and definitely not shooting as well from beyond the arc, 1 of 6. Scoring leaders, mentioned Kylan Coleman with the 15 for George Fox, and then it's Strobridge and Holder with 5 apiece, along with Cassidy Posey. On the UNE side, Jocelyn Chappett with 12 points. She played all 20 minutes. And then you go down to Madeline Sanborn with 3, and a handful of players with 2 apiece. Ira, a first half in which, pretty much the numbers say what we saw, right? We saw a George Fox team that took pretty good care of the basketball, shot really well from the outside, got some second chance opportunities, got the rebounds it needed. Pretty much all sorts of those things combined to get us where we are right now with a 16-point halftime margin.
Yeah, and George Fox with a very strong first half yesterday. For them, this is an opportunity to now take on a very different type of team. Scranton came in, obviously second in the country. Kind of, I don't want to say looked invincible, because there's truly no such thing anymore in Division III. But if there was any team that could put in a bid to be that number 1 team in the country other than Tufts, it was Scranton. Well, today you got another team that has challenged itself and is, they're not afraid of playing top teams. So for New England, they're pretty much playing with house money, and it's a pun being here in Vegas, of course. I want to see what they can do in the second half to kind of challenge themselves and play at this kind of a level and the tempo that George Fox is, not turn the ball over.
This is the state of the tournament as it is so far. 3 games in the books today. Claremont Mudscripts with the 20 shot with 22 seconds left. They beat St. Vincent by a bucket. Amherst all over Keene State. Emmanuel similarly over Milwaukee School of Engineering. Coming up next, 2 games for the folks from New Jersey and for the folks from Wisconsin and Minnesota. NJCU against UW River Falls, and then that'll be followed by Ramapo against St. Scholastica. names that you would normally not associate with each other in the same game. Looking forward to those games as well tonight.
It should be 2 great games to end what is a long day of basketball, Pat. And it'll be...
Yeah, I need lunch, by the way.
Yeah, well,
It's 5 o'clock.
I did pick up a Philly cheesesteak, and then I realized that the Giants were playing the Eagles, and I immediately felt bad about it.
But you ate it anyway, it sounds like.
It was delicious, and then, of course, the Eagles beat the Giants, and now I'm not happy. But
well, was it with or without? That's what I wanted to know.
It was with.
All right.
I mean, you got to have it with everything.
I mean, I don't know. People have their own tastes, right?
Nah, it's all or nothing when it comes to cheesesteaks.
With the whiz or with the provolone? I'm partial to provolone, you know.
I think I did actually have it with mozzarella, but...
All right, that's a thing.
It's all good. It was delicious. I still have fries left.
The fries are the best part.
Yeah, they might be cold by now, but that's all right. 39-23, it'll be George Fox basketball. And inside left-handed shot is good, as Strobridge is able to convert. 41-23, an 18-point lead. And taking it to the rim and converting is Cavallero.
Second field goal of the night for Cavallero. That's them in the white with the blue numbers on the basket to the left, and this is George Fox working left to right on your screen with the gray and the gray. These numbers pass your muster, Mr. Uniform Guy?
Yeah, these are fantastic. I got no complaints whatsoever.
Numbers could be larger on the back, but they're very legible.
As long as you can see it. If you can't see it, what's the point of actually having a number? That one is left short. Loose ball coming up with it, and ultimately batting it back to George Fox was their forward number 43. Holder. I lost that name because I did not write that on my sheet. Of all the names I could have left off. Unbelievable. Lousy preparation by me. 41-25. And it's going to be an offensive foul, dropping the shoulder, and that was an easy one as Kaylee Bior, we saw it a lot called in the men's games yesterday, both games that the officials were making that a point of emphasis. First time we've seen it in one of the women's games.
Well, and yesterday, Bior had a big advantage physically and athletically against MSOE. It is not nearly the same for her against George Fox, and she's going to struggle a little bit more.
After the miss, bring it up the court. Cavallero as New England down by 16. I'd like to see if they can make this manageable in the next few minutes. Obviously, a long drought over 5 minutes without a field goal in the second quarter. That is the big difference in this game. Scoop shot is no good by Chapman. George Fox with the ball. Bounce pass inside, then wide open all day down the lane, and converting is Strobridge. And you went inside out with Spencer to make it happen.
Yeah, help defense flashed over to the left side of the paint, and Strobridge had the right side wide open to work with. And like talked about earlier, they have a lot of players who can put the ball on the floor. And Strobridge, you know, with her size, 5'10", able to do a lot of things.
Pass inside, and good defense there by Strobridge, sensing the pass and unable to box out a defender, or the opponent, I should say, defended it out of bounds. Almost like in defensive back in football.
It's good because we haven't had nearly enough football references in this game.
Well, we can start doing some hockey references. We are in Vegas. That's what they're known for.
I don't see a blue line here, so I got nothing for you. Well, there's a couple red lines, but they're not straight.
Inside, missing the layup attempt is Coney's.
I don't know if you could tell. That outside three-point line is red, Dave.
And forcing the foul is Spencer. She'll go to the line for two. Well, this will be a football town next year.
It will. Well, it'll have football in town. Let's put it that way. We'll see if. I mean, think being called a football town requires a different set of data, right? People coming out and supporting it and that sort of thing.
I think they will. This town has done such a great job supporting the Golden Knights. And of course, it helps that they got to the Stanley Cup Finals their first year.
Doesn't hurt.
You know, come out of the womb and automatically graduate. I mean,
that's right. Take that.
It's like skipped kindergarten, skipped grade school, went straight to master's degree. That's what they did. But I'll tell you what,
they didn't pass. They didn't get their thesis approved, though.
No. At the end, they left a little bit short of a PhD in year number one. But I'll tell you what, coming to Vegas the last 3 years, there's been Raiders paraphernalia.
Yeah.
gear, hats, everything you could think of in the airport right away. I mean, they are embracing the team in this town like it's their own.
I'd definitely be interested to see how that goes around here. It'll be fun to watch.
3-point attempt, that's no good by Cavallero. Rebound goes into the arms of Posey and then knocked out of bounds.
You know, another 2.5 minutes now since University of New England has last scored.
I'll leave our sports talk on this. Vegas as a whole has done a very good job over the years of just supporting whatever comes into town, whether it's fights or...
But don't pan up and look at the seats then. No, well, I know. This event doesn't quite fit in that mold. Nice
3-point attempt is knocked down by Kaylee Bishop. Well, upstairs right now, there's one of the largest junior bowling tournaments in the country going on, and that place was absolutely packed. So,
yeah, it's really, and there's a lot of things here. That's one of the many things you can do in the South Point Hotel, Arena, and Casino and the like. 7-0 run for George Fox.
48-25. And the lead 23, the largest for George Fox. That 3-point attempt is no good. Rebounded here by Bishop. And then the ball knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, nearly thrown away. Bishop tried to throw a one-handed pass out on the perimeter for Strobridge and nearly had it knocked out of bounds, nearly had it stolen.
We'll see Faith Connors check back in here for the Nor'easters. The one tough thing about this tournament is just for most people who are local, they don't really have, unless they're an alumni, don't really have a lot of allegiance with any of the schools.
Yeah.
And, so you don't have that built-in fan support just locally with college basketball. That 3-point attempt, no good, into the arms of Conies.
Yeah, Spencer had a good look at it, just couldn't knock it down.
Of course, Vegas years ago was known for the UNLV Running Rebels, which is one of your great trios of, there's actually 5, but there were 3 that went to the NBA. That was almost more than 25 years ago.
Okay, that's like 30 years ago, right? 89?
Was it last year? 89, 90? 30? Wow.
Fran Tarkenton still got towels scattered all over this metro area that have been gnawed upon.
UNE is going to call a 30-second timeout as they trail by 23. That's crazy. That's 30 years. They are going to take a full, so we'll go full with this one. Take a break. We'll be back for more. George Fox on top.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
You may not realize it, but these words, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental health condition, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join with me, pledge to be stigma-free.
Nor'easters have not scored in exactly 4 minutes. And we talked this one over to try to figure out, well, what can they do to change it? 7-0 run for George Fox, 9th-ranked team in the D3Hoops.com top 25. That will surely increase after their win over Scranton yesterday. And they are looking to improve to 8-1 on the season, 23-point lead. And we still have 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, it's been an impressive display for George Fox today. Obviously, yesterday as well against a top 5 team.
Allie
George Fox looks really good.
Sophomore out of Durham, Maine.
If I had a D3Hoops.com women's basketball top 25 ballot, I probably would be moving them up.
Yeah, you and I don't vote in that one. We vote in the men's poll.
I used to vote in both, man. It just
it's a lot.
It's a time that I no longer have to be able to devote to following them both well.
And a foul is called here on Connie's. I was saying to you off air, actually, in between games, on the men's side, I probably follow the top 150, 200 teams in D3 because I feel it's my responsibility as a voter to know what everybody's doing, who's hot, who's not. But it's when you don't have a about on the women's side. You're just not paying as close attention. So I keep an eye on the top 25, top 30.
Mm-hmm.
Keep an eye on your own region. But outside of that, just don't have the same expertise as you would on the men's side because of the responsibility of voting right. As that foul shot goes down, so
9-0 run.
Fox lead is now double, 50-25.
Yep, it's a 9-0 run, and it's now 4 minutes plus since UNE last scored.
That scoop shot no good, and the rebound will go into the arms of Hartney. It'll be also a loose ball foul on the Nor'easters. Well, the UNE's got two sizable losses this year, lopsided losses, and they were to the two teams we mentioned earlier that are in the top 5 that they already played, Tufts and Bowdoin.
Right.
76-45, that was a 31-point defeat back on November 18th, very early in the season. UNE actually started the year back on November 8th. They went as early as you could. Meanwhile, a loss to Bowdoin on November 26th. That was 72-46. (52-25). Lead continues to grow here. It's become fairly lopsided. Final women's game of the day at 13-2. Outburst here in the third quarter after it was pretty close in the second.
Yep, and 11 unanswered points.
And that ball too hot to handle on the baseline. That is the 13th turnover for UNE, just 5 for George Fox.
Well, I think it's the right idea, right? It's just that, Connors kind of flashing in from the corner at 5'5". The George Fox defense is so tall and so long that you have to throw the ball so high that Connors just couldn't come down with it.
You know what's interesting, by the way, is both Coleman for George Fox and Chappitt for New England have not scored in this half yet.
Well, I mean, for George Fox, you don't need Coleman to be the one who carries you, right? University of New England, it's a little bit of a different story, and that's why, they haven't scored in 5 minutes.
Well, you heard me saying something, taking it to the hole, and scoring was Coleman, so she's on the board for the first time in quarter number 3. And the lead continues to grow. It's 29. Bounce pass outside, three-pointer from the corner is good by Faith Connors.
Connors providing a little offense off the bench. Hasn't played a ton, has only averaged half a point a game, has not even gotten in every game for UNE, but getting some points here.
That's her first shot of the game. Coleman tries to answer, and she does.
Yes, he succeeds in answering. Now 5 of 6 from downtown, 20 points for her on the night.
Great effort here from three-point range and just in general today by Coleman, who's had a tremendous effort. Traveling violation on the Nor'easters. We'll see a substitution, and Chappitt will ultimately come out. We'll see Sierra Tartre. I take that back. It's actually Tart. The R-E is silent.
And she played ever so briefly. She played 3 minutes in the game against Scranton.
Glad I checked my notes. I never would have known that. Coleman a 3 again. Oh. And she is just red hot. We said she hadn't scored in the half. Well, that's 8 quick points just like that. And the lead has swelled to 32. And another turnover, this one thrown away by Tart.
19-3 run over the last 5 minutes, or 6 unanswered points once again for George Fox.
Well, if you're watching this game in the Great Northwest or in the Great Northeast, if that's
or the Commonwealth Coast,
or anywhere in between the 3,200 miles between these schools, we hope you're enjoying this game.
From Eastern to Occidental.
That seems to be the beginning of a great ad on D3Hoops.com.
We should totally do something like that.
What is the rest of that ad?
From Puget Sound to Piedmont. And from Hope to Calvin, yeah.
Well, that's just like right down the street.
Relatively speaking.
Compared to Biddeford to middle of Oregon.
So Coleman will go to the bench. Coleman is 1 3-pointer away from tying the tournament record for threes. Leanne Lively of FDU Florham back in 2014 against UNE Platteville came off the bench to hit 7 threes. And the thing I remember most about her is the neon-colored shoes that she wore that was different than everybody else on that team. And the 7 threes, I remember that.
That was back when FDU Florham was competing for national championships, as that one is converted before the shot clock could expire by Kate Huguenin off the bench. The lead is 62-28, and it continues to grow. Ball comes to Tart.
Yep, followed her own miss, got the rebound.
Three-point attempt is good, knocking it down to Allie Goodman.
UNE putting some points on the board, obviously, now, but just being back and forth is obviously not going to get them back in this ballgame. It might give them a little confidence and something to help build on for the rest of the season, but maybe we have another quarter before we start talking about that.
Well, they were outscored 21-8 in the first quarter, 23-8 now here in the third. Taken to the basket, having it knocked out of bounds with Posey. Be 12 on the shot clock. Under a minute to go here in period number 3. The substitution is checking back in for the Bruins. Will be Lily Abramson, 6'2" sophomore out of Georgetown, Colorado.
That's the best of the Georgetowns.
I think the one in DC is kind of pretty.
No, I said my piece.
Taking it to the rim, and that one is actually blocked. And then a second chance is no good by Coronado. Becomes a shot clock violation. And ultimately, just a 6th turnover on George Fox. They've controlled the basketball throughout this one. They lead by 31. 31 seconds to go in the quarter. Shot is no good by Bior, and a rebound for the Bruins. Pushing up the court in transition. Layup is no good, but there for the follow, and the conversion is Aubrey Baker.
Yeah, just lots of things working right now for the Bruins. Shots don't fall. Offensive rebound, putback goes in.
That's following your shots. If you don't, that'll drive coaches crazy, but if you do, it'll make you a lot more popular in the locker room. 64-31. Foul is called. That'll send Allie Goodman to the line for a couple. Goodman off the bench. Hit the three-pointer just a few moments ago, her only shot of the game. Free throw attempt is good. Goodman on the season in limited opportunities, a 75% free throw shooter, the 5'10" sophomore out of Durham, Maine. And she makes both. Lead is 64-32. And final shot at the third quarter buzzer is no good. So George Fox outscores UNE 25-9 here in the third. 64-32 is your score. 10 minutes to go for George Fox here in Las Vegas. We'll be back for the fourth quarter in just a bit.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance. A monster dunk or no-look pass, and cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success and prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Stats here. Back out here at the D3Hoops.com Classic. End of 3. George Fox leading University of New England 64-32. And here's a look at the stats. Now 23 of 48, just a hair under 50% for George Fox. 8 of 22 from beyond the arc. Huge rebounding edge, 32-7. big on the assist to turnovers, and obviously not working nearly as well on the opposite side for UNE. Now over to Ira Thor.
Well, George Fox has gone deep to its bench here in the fourth quarter, and a chance for some of its reserves to see some quality minutes, and a quality triple there. Emmeline Bova knocks down the triple. Just a 20% three-point shooter entering action today.
Yeah, and let's get the rest of some of the names out here. So Bova, you mentioned. Annalisa Coronado is on the floor right now.
Number 15, Emily Stevens is back out there, and also remaining out there is Lily Aberson at center. That one is taken inside for two.
And Kate Huguenin is the other player. Of those, Bova is the one I think that's kind of highest in the rotation. There's a name who we mentioned a little bit briefly earlier.
Alyssa Nicholas, junior guard out of Southborough, Mass, trying to convert a three-point play. Leaves that one a little short, pulled down by Stevens.
So Bior's still on the floor. Faith Connor's on the floor for UNE. Sierra Tard's on the floor for UNE along with Allie Goodman.
So a chance again for the second and third team players to see some quality minutes and develop a little bit. That jump shot off the back iron and in by Stevens.
Nice little soft touch, right? I mean, it didn't go down at first, but it didn't clang off of the phalange either. That's the right word, right? Or is that just Phoebe Buffet who says it that way?
I'm so lost in this conversation.
The thing that holds the rim to the glass.
Glue?
No, the
welded in place?
All right, man.
I don't know. You've got me, brother. If this is Jeopardy, I won't make it out of the first round. I won't make it to the show.
None of us is Adam Levin.
No,
so
we are certainly not. No, the greatest runner-up in Jeopardy history.
That's right. I hope he enjoyed his rice-a-roni and the play-at-home game.
It's funny, we went to the convention this past summer, and his name tag, as that one is in and out. His name tag said Adam Levin, and underneath that, instead of school, it said Jeopardy runner-up.
Yeah.
That one is initially blocked, but then a foul is called on Huguenin. Actually, take it back on Bova.
He should have claimed that as a Twitter handle.
I mean, there's still time.
Yes, well,
somebody else, one of the other 200-plus people watching this game, wants to spoil the party.
That's right.
I would imagine a bunch of people who don't know where Brandeis is do know who Adam Levin is just because of what he did on Jeopardy. He had his 15 minutes of fame and then some.
Almost beat that guy. I don't know who the guy is. Only because
the guy James. The guy won $4 million.
No, I mean, I understand it as a guy who won a metric crap ton of money, but I don't remember his name. It's not really part of the zeitgeist for me. I'm sorry.
Only in Vegas is a metric crap ton of money an official category.
I think so.
Taken to the hole and an offensive foul. That was an easy call there. Is Ashley Connies. Well, now they're going to talk this one over. It might not be as easy as I initially thought.
Right, so not inside that circle that's painted on the floor.
So they stick with the initial call as we had suspected, but they did get together to have that discussion. It's a 35-point lead.
There's time. There's enough time for them to actually talk things over. I have no problem with that. They're allowed to talk.
Well, the next game not scheduled to start till 6. There will be 2 men's games to finish this long day of basketball, the longest day of this 4-day 10th annual tournament.
I have not left the arena.
Loose ball after it's taken away by Tart. And then drawing the contact is... Actually, it was Tart drawing the contact and Connors that caused the turnover. So Tart, the junior out of Kennebunk, Maine, go to the line for 2. Free throw is good. Look at the release on Tart on the free throws. A little bit unorthodox.
You got Kennebunk. Second shot, no good. Yeah, it's
I did follow the Bush family when Bush Sr. was in office, so I'm a little familiar with some towns in Maine there, Dave Quincy McHugh.
Timeout, full timeout on the floor. 7:23 to go here in the fourth quarter. George Fox over University of New England 69-35. We'll be back in a minute.
For the love of the game, but for those of us who are Division III student athletes, It's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
$7:23 to go here at the South Point Arena in Vegas. George Fox, putting an exclamation mark for sure on what's been a great tournament for them. Maybe the best of any team here. Amherst can potentially lay claim to that, but George Fox knocked off number 2 ranked team in the country, and then a very good UNE squad. Listen, UNE came in at 8-2 on the year, unbeaten in the CCC, and George Fox is walking all over them right now. UNE is a good team. George Fox is starting to make a statement.
3 to shoot.
As that one will draw contact. They're starting to make a statement that they may be a team to beat at the end of the season.
Well, I think so too, right? This is someone who's ranked in the top 10, obviously, is someone who you should expect to see in the Elite Eight, maybe in the Final Four, definitely in the round of 8, is that first foul shot is good. And what they did, they beat number 2, and then they're beating this team here, is more impressive than what Amherst was. Amherst just, they beat DeSales, and that's also a good spot for their resume and got them a little bit of a challenge. But, then we go back to conference play, and Whitman is typically strong there. And, we'll see if Whitworth or someone else, after, with adjusting to the new coach now, what they do. So we'll see what the Northwest Conference looks like.
Traveling violation there on Krenzer. The free throws a moment ago were by number 10, Piper Lucas, had not said her name yet, the 5'9" freshman at Sella, Washington. As everybody who's healthy right now really getting a chance to play. Also out on the floor is Carly Oliver, 6-foot wing at a Ridgefield, Washington. 3-point attempt, bang! Triple by Kate Huguenin, and the lead is 39. George Fox said exclamation mark. They're underlining this as well.
This is scary if you are a George Fox future opponent watching these players that are the third stringers, right? The 11 through 15 on the roster coming in and lighting it up as well.
Man, their third team is probably as good as most teams' first teams.
Well, they are certainly tonight, obviously. Kids are young, and they may not always play great, but, Huguenin's a junior. Coronado's a first year, and Lucas is a first year. Oh, see, you got me saying it now, too. Baker's a sophomore. Abrahamson's a sophomore. So, Bova's a freshman.
3-point play by Conies. 74-38 is your score. And you said the kids are young, and I would agree with that because most kids are young.
Yeah, little 2-3 zone here. Let's see how the kids react to that.
6 to shoot. Trapped in the corner.
Dribble picked up, yep. Shoot.
Huguenin's going to have to not going to get it off. It'll be a turnover here on George Fox. Remarkably, just their 8th. They did not have one the entire opening quarter. I don't think I've ever seen a team go an entire 10 minutes without a turnover.
I should say Huguenin, of course, I mentioned that she's a junior, but she's a junior academically. She missed an entire season with injury, so she's really a sophomore.
Turnaround is good there as Krenzer off balance is able to get it to go down. Oh, well, 5 quick points here for UNE. They've cut the deficit a little bit down to 34. 3-point straightaway shot is off the mark by Oliver, and then a loose ball foul. And Piper Lucas was able to come down with it, drew the contact. It's on the floor, so it'll be an inbounds play here with 5:18 to go. We're going to see a substitution as Bior, one of the starters, is going to check back in. Not been out there for a while.
You mentioned that straight-on shot, right? George Fox 0 for 7 from straight on beyond the arc this afternoon, but let's see, 8 for 15 from the wings combined, 2 for 3 from the corner. That's about the only spot that they haven't hit from, I guess, is straight on.
That is excellent use of the new NCAA shot charts that just came out.
How about that?
Last year was the first year that this stat was added to the official NCAA stat program.
Yeah,
3-point attempt, Huguenin is short. And I'll get a fresh shot clock here.
And then hit area chart.
This time, knocked down triple by Carly Oliver.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have this information for every game all year? And then some impressive stuff, right?
It really is, and it's something. I know it's hard to change sometimes when you're so used to doing it one way, but I think there's been so many positives with the new stat program. Once you learn it, of course. And there's still stuff that I've hinted at that I think would be kind of cool to add, just in terms of the descriptors, like a reverse layup, like finger roll, stuff like that, to really make the play-by-play even more descriptive. But just to get to that point, you have to learn. Those who are operating the program have to learn, just the consistency of it. But it's so much easier now to track block shots and second chance shots than ever was before with the program that had been used since early in this century, quite frankly.
Late 80s, right? Early 90s for sure.
Early 90s, and adapted.
I used it in 93, I think.
That'd be a 3-second violation on George Fox.
We're talking about shooting numbers here this afternoon. George Fox, 8 of 11 from inside the bubble, underneath the basket. UNE has really struggled there. We talked about the size and the long arms of George Fox on defense, and UNE has really struggled with that. They're just 4 for 10 underneath the basket.
George Fox has done a much better job, by the way, on the offensive boards. They've out-rebounded New England 15-4, as that little scoop shot is knocked down on the drive by Sanborn. And on the offensive rebounds, they've scored 18 second chance points. And not only has George Fox been 50% from the field, when they have missed, well, they've made the most of it.
10 to shoot.
3:30 to play. That one is short. And a rebound pulled down, this time by Tart. 35-point lead. 3-point attempt is good by Cavallero. Cavallero, her first 3 in 4 tries. Now 3 out of 9 from the field, 7 points on the evening. As we approach 8:30 on the East Coast. Pass inside, and the foul is drawn. Bior with the contact. I see a line change here coming back in for George Fox. Will be Annalisa Coronado, and then 3 subs for New England, including Allie Goodman, who's had a nice game off the bench.
Yeah, Connors comes out, Cavallero comes out, and Bior comes out, and 2 of those were starters.
Under 3 to play. Again, stay with us for those who are just sheer basketball fans. After this game, next one will be NJCU, who knocked off Central yesterday by 25, taking on Wisconsin. River Falls will be a public school matchup here in...
We don't like to talk about those things.
Well, it's not something you see very often, though. As a WIAC, a WIAC, oh my God, I did it wrong, against an NJAC.
I would say your Little East guys who you were raving about earlier, though. That's Little East and NJAC, I would have to think, match up a little more often. Little East and SUNYAC, right?
A little bit more just because of tournaments. I've seen us and some other teams in the NJAC go up into New England for those November tournaments, but
Keene State, Eastern Connecticut,
yeah, you'll see those
Boston.
More. But the WIAC and the NJAC, short of the NCAA tournament, the Final Four a couple years ago with Oshkosh and Ramapo.
Right.
Not a matchup you see every day, so that's why I think it's kind of fun.
And if you're here early for that game, just know that it will be on a separate stream. So when this game is over, we'll do final stats, and then we'll take a break, and you'll come back and find that game elsewhere on d3hoops.com or elsewhere on YouTube.
And then Ramapo will round out today's action, game number 6. That'll be 11 p.m. Eastern for those of you who are night owls.
Who?
Exactly. 3-point attempt. No good. And a rebound here by Tart after the miss by Oliver. Up to 4, and another turnover as number 18 on the Nor'easters. 2 minutes remaining here in Vegas. Losing the handle momentarily, but getting it back was Coronado. Euro step. They're running one-hander with the left hand.
That's nice. That's just a good job there by Coronado. A little bit of skill, right, to go left-handed with that. Assuming she's not already left-handed. I'm just making an assumption.
With that basket by Coronado, 13 different players have scored for the Bruins. Talking about resiliency, there's so many players on this team that are capable of contributing. It doesn't have to be just one. Now today, it's been Coleman. Coleman's been awesome. 23 points, 8 out of 9 from the field, 6 out of 7 from three-point range. Nobody else has had to score in double figures because Coleman carried so much of the burden. Only one player in double figures for New England. That one is swatted away inside as we approach 60 seconds remaining. Lead is 34. Off the glass, no good by Allie Goodman. And a minute to play. Goodman has 6 points for New England. Lead is 34. George Fox with this win, they're going to improve to 8-1 on the year, and their win streak will be 8. New England will drop to 8-3, and they'll see their 3-game winning streak come to an end.
Right, but they get a chance to go home and get back into conference play, which will be a little bit more comfortable for them. And you've learned a lot of things about yourself in a trip like this, right? You've learned what, again, what a top-notch opponent can do to you. You've played 3 teams that are in the top 10, maybe even in the top 5, once this is all said and done, in Bowdoin and Tufts and George Fox. And, at the very least, you know that you don't have to see competition like that again until maybe in the NCAA tournament.
And I think this is a good team. I have not seen UNE play prior to today. They definitely have the weapons to be there come March. It's just they're playing a team, George Fox, that definitely one of the better ones anywhere in the country in Division III. That layup attempt is no good, and that final rebound into the arms of Stevens will do it. George Fox, a dominant first quarter, a dominant third quarter, where they outscored UNE a combined 46-17, and that was more than enough today for a 35-point lopsided win. Your final score, 80-45 in the final women's game here on day 3, as we bid farewell from women's basketball. We'll move on to the men's after this one, but again, George Fox, I cannot understate how impressed I've been by them in the last 2 days, Pat.
Yeah, and we don't get a literal Amherst George Fox matchup. We just have to settle for what we've seen here over the course of the last couple of days and kind of make some comparisons. But I really would like George Fox in a head-to-head matchup against Amherst. I think that George Fox is the best team here then, I think, because they beat Scranton straight up. And I think that I would have favored them against Amherst as well.
Hey, Kim Wenger, the commissioner of the Northwest Conference, if you were watching this game, you got yourself a heck of a title contender here in the Bruins. It'll be very interesting to see, what they do in the final half of the season. Before we go, your thoughts on New England. Obviously, a good win for them yesterday against Milwaukee School of Engineering, but today just an opponent that they were not matched up well with.
Yeah, UNE just is, not in a position to really be in a game like this, right? It's overmatched, right? You come to we try to when we have full control of the pairings, and sometimes coaches, insist that they will not play certain teams. But when we have full control of the pairings, our goal is to, whenever possible, match you up against somebody who you have, you're pretty evenly matched with, and then somebody who's a stretch, right? And so this is the stretch game for University of New England. If nothing else, they got a chance to knock a bit of the rust off. They got a reminder of what it's like to play top-notch competition. Chapin, who's going to have to, play against much better opponents if they hope to get to the NCAA tournament and advance, knows that these are the sorts of things that she's going to have to do. X, Y, and Z. You can come back and reference that tape. You can reference the physical memories and all that sort of thing going into conference play, conference tournament play, and if they're fortunate enough to advance, NCAA tournament play after that.
A couple numbers that popped off the page before we sign off. Coleman again led all players, 23 points. Just remarkable shooting today. Had 8 out of 9 from the field, 6 of 7 from three-point range, and she was key for George Fox, hitting 11 triples in this game.
Yeah, and you can see the other totals here on the board, 46% from the floor, 40% from downtown, the huge rebounding edge we talked about, and it did not go away, 42-21. That is, Coleman with a great game today. Strobridge with a great game yesterday with 25 points, 9 points here tonight. There's all those weapons. We talked about all those players who can handle the ball pretty well. It's just going to be really interesting to see who in the conference is at the top echelon in that conference along with George Fox, because George Fox clearly is going to be a contender in the Northwest Conference once again.
For sure. And the final two numbers I just wanted to point out before we signed off, 39 points from the bench. So for George Fox, that is certainly something to hang your hat on. They did this with nearly half of their points coming from their backups and off of 18 turnovers from the Nor'easters, 27 points George Fox was able to obtain. Your final score today, George Fox, 9th-ranked team in D3 for now, 80. And University of New England, 45. For my partner, Pat Coleman, I'm Ira Thor. Thanks for watching this broadcast of the D3Hoops.com Classic. Game number 5 of 6 today. Coming up next on a new stream, it'll be New Jersey City University. I get a paycheck from that place every 2 weeks. They'll be taking on Wisconsin River Falls. That'll be a good one.
Are they paying you for this broadcast tonight?
No, you are paying me for this one in love.
I was going to say, man, I'll buy you a beer.
Hey, I'll work for beer. We'll talk more about beer. No, just kidding. Let's talk about basketball. That'll come up next. 8 p.m. right here on D3Hoops.com.